Welcome back! My name is ballerscuba. This is Video Games Over Time. We are still in 1979, and today we're going to talk about Alien. Our story begins in 1974. University of Southern California student Dan O'Bannon, along with director John Carpenter, wrote Dark Star, a science fiction comedy film that did not do well in theaters. Finding that some of the comedy failed, O'Bannon decided to focus more on horror. Inspired by the science fiction of the 1950s and 60s, O'Bannon pitched his idea as Jaws in space. After pitching the idea to several studios, 20th Century Fox accepted it. Because of the success of Star Wars, 20th Century Fox wanted to push their own science fiction script in Alien, funding the movie with an initial budget of $4.2 million, over $17.8 million in 2020. The studio offered the directing job to Ridley Scott, who had just released his debut film The Duelists in 1977. Scott accepted and began working on the visuals of the film, describing it instead as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre of science fiction. While Dan O'Bannon wanted to focus the writing on the alien itself, Ridley Scott wanted to focus on developing the characters, going so far as to give the actors several pages of backstory for their characters' history. Alien hired over 200 craftspeople and technicians to design the sets, props, and costumes. The idea was to create a working-class version of the future, building off the lived-in version of the future that Star Wars used. The film focuses on using practical effects whenever possible, using created puppets, latex suits, and genuine reactions from the actors to give the film a sense of tension and dread. Dan O'Bannon found the work of H.R. Giger and showed it to Ridley Scott, who loved it. After some initial resistance from 20th Century Fox, Scott was able to get Giger recruited to work on the film. Much of the set and designs were then created by Giger. Alien took over 14 weeks to film and around 20 weeks to edit. The final budget of the film ballooned to somewhere between $8.4 and $14 million, roughly $30 to $50 million in 2020. Some of that budget went to the marketing, including an unnerving trailer that was said to scare audiences out of the theater when it played. That trailer bore the tagline, "In space, no one can hear you scream." Alien had a limited release in American theaters on May 25, 1979. Opening in 91 theaters, Alien grossed over $3.5 million on that Memorial Day weekend, over $12.4 million in 2020. It then received a wide release on June 22nd. It would go on to gross $104.9 million worldwide, over $370 million in 2020. The movie was a hit among the audience. However, the film was not a hit among the critics of the time. Most critics had either mixed or negative reactions, especially to the plot. In particular, the film was labeled as a haunted house thriller set in space. The movie did receive some accolades though, in particular for its visual effects, art direction, and its acting. As time has gone on though, Alien has become more and more popular and more esteemed by the film industry. If you have not watched Alien, I would recommend it, not only for its importance and influence, but also because of its quality. Alien is one of the most influential films in both the science fiction and horror genres. But it did not all happen at once. Just like its esteem among critics, the film's influence would grow through the years. It would have a lasting influence on the video game industry, with several games directly based on the film. However, these games would not come out for years, and we will not be playing most of those games. They're not that good. We will, however, be playing games inspired by the film. Those are much better. So it's time to talk about the film itself. I should note that this film was rated R, and I will be showing clips from it. So if you do not wish to see that, or if you have not seen the film and do not wish to have it spoiled, now would be the time to stop. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. For those that have stayed, let's talk about Alien. The film starts on board the space tug Nostromo. The Nostromo's 7-member crew is in stasis on a return trip back to Earth. The Nostromo detects a transmission from a nearby moon named LV-426, so the ship's computer, named Mother, wakes up the crew because policy states that the crew must investigate. The ship lands on the moon, sustaining some damage on the way. While the two engineers, Parker and Brett, repair the ship, Captain Dallas, Executive Officer Kane, and Navigator Lambert go to investigate. They discover a crashed alien ship and enter inside, where they cannot communicate with the Nostromo. Warrant Officer Ripley then deciphers part of the initial transmission, finding out that it is a warning, but it is too late. Kane finds a chamber full of eggs, and, touching one, is attacked by the creature inside. Dallas and Lambert carry Kane back to the ship. Ripley refuses to let them back on the ship, citing protocol for quarantine, but Science Officer Ash overrides Ripley and lets the men back inside. Ash attempts to remove the creature from Kane's face, but has to stop when the creature's blood is found to be an extremely corrosive acid. The creature later detaches on its own and is found dead. With the ship repaired, it takes off to continue its journey home. Kane eventually awakens, seemingly unharmed, save for some memory loss. During a meal, though, Kane shows that everything is not okay. A small alien creature bursts out of Kane and escapes into the ship. The crew then begins to hunt the creature now loose on the ship with the crew's cat, Jones. Brett follows the cat into a supply room, where the full-grown alien attacks Brett and disappears. Dallas enters the ducts trying to force the alien into an airlock, but the alien gets him instead. After some arguing about escaping, Ripley accesses Mother and finds out that Ash has been ordered to bring the alien back, and, for the purposes of this mission, the crew is considered expendable. Ripley confronts Ash about this, but Ash turns on her, trying to kill her. Parker saves Ripley, knocking Ash's head off, revealing that Ash is an android. They reactivate Ash to get information, but when Ash starts taunting them, Ripley turns him off, and Parker incinerates him. The remaining 3 crew members decide to destroy the Nostromo using the self-destruction sequence and escape in the emergency shuttle. However, Parker and Lambert are killed by the creature as they try to get supplies, leaving Ripley to destroy the ship and leave. Ripley barely makes her escape before the Nostromo explodes. While on the shuttle, Ripley discovers that the alien made it on board the shuttle as well. Ripley puts on a spacesuit and flushes the creature out. Ripley is able to open an airlock door and the alien is almost blown out into space, but it's able to grip the frame of the door. Ripley shoots it with a grappling hook. The gun catches as the door closes and the alien is still tethered to the shuttle. The alien crawls into an engine exhaust and Ripley fires the engines, finally sending the alien out into the void of space. Ripley records one more log entry, and then her and Jones the cat go into stasis for the trip back to Earth. And that is Alien. Although this was not the first space horror film, this is the most influential. The names and situations in this film would influence video games for years. Although the setup to the movie is, at its core, a home invasion movie in space, the way that it is done, with some great acting performances, is well worth watching. I do recommend watching it. Knowing this movie will give a deeper understanding of some of the games we will talk about and play in the future. My name is ballerscuba. This has been Video Games Over Time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in our next video where we will stay in space, but talk about an entirely different franchise.